Hey there, and welcome back to what is now Season 2 of the Second Lunch Podcast.
Woo!
I completely miscounted our episodes. I thought we were at 49 last episode we did. Turns out that was 50. So all the fun stuff I had planned for episode 50, we're going to spread out throughout the season. I have some news.
Nice. I'm
We
excited.
may have not just one, but two sponsors. So these beers might start being free.
Oh, that'd be rad.
I can't say much more until it's official.
That's fair.
But, yeah, we have some sponsors. We're going to have some really fun guests this season.
I just talked to Ashley about doing it with us. So,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we may have a significant other pod, which I've been wanting since the very beginning. We have some really exciting guests. We're going to have some repeat guests, some favorites I know. I think our next episode, actually, Mr. Harkins will be back. Try to get me learned.
that was
again.
a well-viewed episode for our standards.
It was actually our highest viewed and most listened episode. So gotta get those views and listens somehow.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna run it back.
He's our biggest celebrity.
He might just become the third person on this pod. So
There's a lot of history you can talk about, turns out.
yeah, we've had a lot going on. So the releases have been a little sparse for us. But I was just in Virginia / Washington, D.C. Quick question. Is Florida's main export rental cars? Because I don't think I've ever had a rental car that wasn't from Florida, no matter where I've been.
That is an interesting point. You know, I'm sure there's some boring tax-related explanation for this,
yeah.
but I prefer the more juvenile explanation of you got to get the fuck out of Florida. You know, this is clearly a symptom of people
renting a car
getting
and just leaving.
Yeah, how do they still have so many electoral votes? You know, it's people just got to get the fuck out of there. Especially, I mean, hurricane season. I'm trying to get to higher ground, folks.
Yeah.
Also,
No shit.
Jesus Christ, limestone deposits in Florida. I'm also not trying to fall through the crust of the earth. You know, it's cool. A sinkhole is cool in theory, but in actuality, it's dangerous.
Fuck, I'd love to throw a rock into a sinkhole, dude.
But I'm distracting from your Virginia trip by talking about Florida. How long were you there? How was it?
It seems like Florida's main export is Chevy Malibus with 100,000 miles on them.
I was going to go with the Ford Fusion or the Ford Fiesta, that stupid fucking hatchback.
Virginia was good. I was visiting some family that I'd never met in my life.
Oh, cool.
From my dad's side.
Cool
Bunch
in
of
theory.
moonshiners. I had some real shine. It was real good.
That's pretty rad. I've never had that opportunity.
Yeah, there's some that'll peel the paint off your walls when you open the jar.
Yeah, it's
And
a
then
little
there's
bit more.
some, like I had apple pie moonshine, like real moonshine. Not the stuff that it's going to give you. I mean, I was hungover, but not one of those sugar hangovers. It was amazing.
Now, when the moonshine, when it's made, talking to a neophyte here, I don't know any better. I know, straight white lightning, that's going to be close to Everclear strength. But when they do an apple pie type blend like that, is it cut down a little bit? I would imagine through the.
So the one I had, the guy actually used Everclear instead of going through the whole process because he just said it didn't detract from the taste of the apple pie portion of it as much.
Fair.
The funny thing to me was still illegal, obviously.
Yeah.
This guy's a retired sheriff. That is the most Virginia thing I've ever heard.
That's also, I mean, I feel like that's one of those things, and weed is maybe increasingly getting like that, at least in the States where it's legal, where it's like, there's certain things you can do where it's like a little over the line, but the laws exist to prevent you from like manufacturing and distribution. It's like, okay, don't have 1,000 plants, don't be churning out 5,000 liters of moonshine a month that you're then like selling without it being taxed and shit.
That was kind of his thing. I was like, isn't this illegal? He's like, it's only for me.
Yeah. Who's gonna
or you, like I'm sharing it with you. He was telling me a story. This is my grandpa's cousin. About when he goes hunting, there's this tree by his hunting spot, I should say, a stump by this hunting spot of his that he's been storing a bottle of whiskey in for decades. So every time he goes back, he just reaches in the stump and he pulls out the bottle. I don't know why he can't just bring the fucking bottle with him. But he said
cool to have a stump.
Other people found out about it, and he was baffled. He's like, who would just reach into this stump? Like, he didn't do it. But he said now other bottles of whiskey are starting to appear in this stump in the middle of the woods.
Well, that sounds like a cool little community thing.
Yeah.
One time when I was a teenager, we had a half gallon of Montego Bay rum. Truly, speaking of taking like stitching out of your fucking clothing and shit, that is some gnarly stuff. But we went into the Safeway in Queen Anne to buy some stuff and didn't know where to put it, so we put it in the stranger newspaper box. We figured we had like a 10-minute window where surely nobody's going to take it.
Nobody needs the stranger after 7 p.m.
And then we got our Montego Bay back and could not possibly drink it, but it's just too rancid. Was there anything else fun that you did in Virginia?
We did a lot of fun stuff. I mean, we spent half a day in D.C., which was not enough time. I've got to go back. It also made me acutely aware of how little I paid attention in history class the whole time I was
They
there.
teach you at the wrong age. They should teach you when you're like a 40-year-old stepdad.
Because now I'm like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Why didn't I give a shit about it then?
Yeah.
Oh, because I wanted to go to recess.
Yeah, because exactly.
I saw Monticello, also known as the back of the nickel.
Yeah, the old Thomas Jefferson house.
Old TJ's place.
Yeah.
That was strange. It was really cool. It was beautiful. It was really cool because, Thomas Jefferson, pretty cool guy outside of all the slaves. That part's pretty bad.
You're definitely going to want to compartmentalize.
Outside of the... Yeah, dude, it was weird because it was like, you go to one part of the property, and I'd never, seen slave quarters. Those are not good accommodations at all.
No.
That was weird. And then you go on this tour, and they're like, Thomas Jefferson was a great man. He did all these things. Other than that, pretty cool guy. It was so weird.
Yeah, you're gonna want to separate the Sally Hemings stuff from the rest of it. Yeah, when I was in New Minden, Illinois, with my dad, we lived in a place that was built in 1848, and it still had slave quarters. It's like, this is the most haunted house of all time. I don't even believe in this stuff, but my God,
man, it was cool to see. Best part about it was fucking with my grandpa though, because he's like, he really cares about U.S. history, world history, really, but U.S. history is really interesting to him, and so he really wanted to take us to Monticello, which I was up for, but I also kept calling it Montenegro or Limoncello, and I asked to take a picture with him in front of the house, and I was like, we got to get a picture. It's not every day you get to go to the house of the guy who invented the light bulb. Oh, he was so annoyed because he thought I was serious.
Now, this guy invented peanut butter, right?
No, but that does lead us into our Wikipedia.
That's George Washington. Yeah. Right? I did want to talk a little bit about the Monticello, and I don't know if you got, it sounds like you did a bit of a tour. Maybe it came up.
They very briefly mentioned what you're about to discuss.
Yeah, and there's only so much to share, but the Monticello official, macaroni and cheese recipe. So Thomas Jefferson famously spent some amount of time, if you've watched the musical Hamilton, sometime in Paris while a lot of shit was going on over here. And when he came back, one of the things he brought back, not like he was the first guy to ever bring macaroni and cheese to America, but because he had so many people over, he really popularized the dish in his little region.
You guys have to see what the French have done to the Italians' food.
Yes, exactly. It is of all the things to take back from France, that is sort of a funny, Italian.
It's not even French.
Yeah, it's not, exactly. It's our little take on it. But yeah, you can look up the recipe online. I've never, one of my go-to dishes when somebody's grieving or having a potluck or something is I'm going to make the homemade mac and cheese, but I've never tried the TJ recipe. But yeah,
we should do that. We should do that for an episode.
Yeah, make the Thomas Jefferson recipe and do a Pepsi challenge with some other. See how good the 300-year-old recipe holds up. Or sorry, I'm just pulling up the. Oh yeah, this I won't be able to do a very natural transition here, but I did want to talk a little bit about Mike. Mike passed away in August, which I was mostly going to keep separate from the show, but there's also too much silly shit for me to possibly keep it separate.
I also think with how much we've talked about him, it would be really nice to let people know. I mean, in our time off, or between episodes, I should say, I had a couple people asking me what's going on, and I only told a few people. I know it's not my thing to share.
Right.
But I was like, we lost Mike. And everybody was like, oh, fuck, that is terrible. Tell Cole we're so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Those stories ring true.
Yeah, you're living at a mile a minute.
Yeah.
You will run out of rope.
Yeah.
But he passed away in Hawaii, had him cremated, and one thing that his mom wanted, which is understandable, was wanted some of the ashes at least to be buried with her. Then my brother wanted to, maybe scatter some ashes too, but we were also going to inter some amount here. So it's like, okay, I got all the ashes in one enormously heavy marble urn. How do I now go about separating this? And first of all, there's a physics problem with the way that an urn is designed. Similar to almost like a wine bottle where, the vessel itself is far wider than the opening of the vessel. Where if you stuff that completely full of Mike, you cannot pull out the bag that it's in. It's an actual like physical impossibility.
And at this point, he lacks being liquid.
No, he's not. I mean, he's fairly easy to move around. He's sand in the hourglass, but still. So I'm like, okay, well, do I use... And I had Googled, a lot of people do this, separate the ashes. Some people separate the ashes into as many as like 10 allotments. What the fuck? How many places do you want to be scattered? 10 different urns? You're going to get like a shin bone and 3 phalanges. What do you... You're not getting a lot to work with there.
The irony of all this.
All this pomp and circumstance for a guy wearing cut-off sweatshorts.
A guy who I imagine used a scale to measure things once or twice in his life, having to evenly divide.
It was interesting to ponder, especially because 2 of the vessels were the same, and then one was the marble thing that got shipped up from Hawaii. Like, is this right? Is everybody getting their fair share of old Mike here?
Fair share of Mike. It had to be weird considering whether it's appropriate or not to put your dad through a funnel.
Exactly. Because I also went to I was like, I'm not going to use any of my like baked goods measuring cups to... then it's forever unclean. Like, whatever gets used has to... I'm sorry to be wasteful, but whatever gets used, it's going in the trash.
Yeah.
It's getting burned. It can't ever be used for anything else. So I went to Ace Hardware and got, a spade for about $9. And even then, like, it was just very hard to get it in and actually scoop out vertically. So now I'm angling the entire thing sideways.
You can't pour it because then you'll get dust. You get it up in the air.
Yeah, well, you kind of feed the bag into the, it's a very delicate process.
Oh my God. I can't imagine.
And then later, Ashley's like, "Is that some Mike on the counter?" And I was like, "I think
that's some Mike.
I think that's flour from making pizza." But I think she was probably right. I think it was a little bit of Mike. Also, dyeing is expensive. My God, costs like cost me $3,000 to get him cremated and sent back from Hawaii. It's like $4,500 for the burial plot. It's almost $3,000 for the headstone.
Jesus.
Yeah, serious business. Yeah, for any listeners,
now I see why the mafia just launches people into the ocean.
Seriously, yeah, burial
Let the
at
sharks
sea.
take care of it.
Exactly. That's where the Nation of Islam and the mob really come together. Is burials at sea. But yeah, fucking expensive. Definitely, if you've got responsible parents, get them to line that shit up at least.
Well, that was probably a good expense for you to have, considering you're not employed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm still unemployed.
Yeah.
Paying for a bunch of stuff. No, but I'm trying to remember if there's anything else silly. And then, celebration of life, as we've discussed. I think the Phantom of Mike decided to...
Yeah. Do we want to share what happened?
Cut out the power. Yeah, we had a celebration of life at Ray's Boathouse, all paid for and set up, and power went out. Pretty sure it's a Mike gag.
Yeah, Mike called an audible.
Exactly. Mike was like, let's go hang out at the family friend's house, and let's also save Cole about $6,000. And
oh my God, yeah. Well, good on you, Mike. Good call. Jeepers creepers.
You only have one chance to do the celebration of life properly, so I wasn't gonna sandbag it, but also I was like, not too mad about not spending that kind of cash.
That was it felt appropriate. It felt like Mike to me, And
Yeah.
again, I only met him once, so the Mike I know is mainly through you. It felt appropriate.
Nice.
It was nice.
Glad to hear that. But yeah, that's have the what is it, funeral home separate the ashes beforehand if you get the if you
Right.
need to do that, that's my recommendation.
Take what you got, divide it in 3. I think I know what's coming next.
Yeah.
I've been drinking too much Coke Zero. I think
Yeah.
I mentioned in the last episode, it's ruining me. It's ruining my family. It's going to put me in the poorhouse.
It's hard to make
I
soda products
just
put you in the poorhouse.
I never have soda on hand, and I just always, it's like around now. I just have it when I want one. And I keep thinking back to when I was in second grade. I went to this, I think I've talked about it on the show before, but this is like school for smart kids or people whose parents thought they were smart.
Yeah, you were in there with your older brother, right? Yeah.
And so I remember in that class, the parents were very involved in the teaching process. Like if there was something they felt like it was important for us to learn, they would do demonstrations and stuff. And I remember one of them,
siphoning gas.
Now, if it tastes sweet, that's diesel. No, it was this lady. I want to paint a picture a little bit. Subaru driving, no shaving, no shampoo.
Yeah, bit.
Don't use electricity type of.
So truly hippie-ish. Really,
Yeah,
kind of
very
living
much
off
a
the
tree
grid
hugger.
little bit.
And again, I'm not even judging. I might be poking fun a little bit, but if you are so determined, like if you believe so much in something that you're willing to live a life that is clearly worse, good on you.
Yeah.
But I do disagree with what happened next. She, I don't know where she got a human bone. She was a nurse. So I'm looking back on this. I'm like, that is suspicious that she just was able to get a bone.
Yeah. Whose bone was this?
She put it in, it was a femur bone. And she
Shit.
put it in a container of Coca-Cola. And she's like, we're going to put it in here for a week. And next week I'll come back in and we're going to take it out. And I was like, what a waste of cola, baby. Like, I thought we were having a party. This is fucking dumb.
Yeah.
We come back a week later. She takes it out and she like waves the bone and it's like rubbery. And I was just like, okay, so I'm not supposed to drink Coke. You just could have told me don't drink soda.
Well, also, I'm not even sure that perfectly shows that. I think that more shows don't keep soda in your mouth for a week straight.
Don't keep your bones in cola.
Yeah. I'm not advocating for drinking soda, but I'm not sure that totally proves.
But now I'm haunted by this woman and this wavy bone. Every time I have a soda, every time I have just one precious Coke Zero, I'm reminded of what it's doing to my femurs.
But she probably put it, and I'm not sure that a Coke Zero would do any better, but that was probably like your full sugar traditional Coke, especially how long ago it was. I mean, of course, there was already Diet Coke, but...
It was. I know it was because I remember her pouring it out and thinking, that's the good shit.
Yeah, you didn't even get rid of tab. This is pure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is uncut.
This wasn't even the Safeway brand. Like, you probably didn't even have to go top shelf.
Mountain Breeze. Yeah, exactly. I can't remember what the Safeway brand of cola. I'm sure it's just cola.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had some interesting sort of demonstrations in school too. I remember at one point they brought in a human brain, which was a wild thing to see.
Where are we getting these brains?
Also a great question. Who's just, I know people donate their bodies to science, but I would want to specify, like, don't put me in the second grade brain wheeling exhibit. Don't put me on the same AV tray that they used to wheel the television in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Did the person whose femur was sacrificed into cola know this was happening? What if they liked Coke? They may not have agreed to that.
Yeah, I thought you were going to, maybe see if my bone marrow reacted to a certain treatment. No, you just tossed it in a fucking soda.
You're trying to haunt soda drinkers for the rest of their life? That is not worth it.
Exactly. This is just not... What did we learn here? What was the funding for this experiment? Yeah. I know this is going to air after Halloween. Oh, yeah. It's recorded. But this will be uploaded after Halloween, but it is the day before. And I know that you wanted to... We both have our experiences at Spirit Halloween.
Yeah. I've been trying to like, I don't really give a shit about Halloween anymore. I know a lot of people do. I've stopped caring. But Kendall's, she's going to be 2. Like, I want the holidays to be how I remember my mom making the holidays for me as a kid.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I'm like, let's do it. I'm going full on Halloween. You know what I mean? And she like loves seeing all the decorations in the neighborhood and stuff. And so I was like, let's take her to Spirit Halloween. Actually, I'm not going to take credit for that. It was Katie.
Yeah.
Katie was like, let's take her to Spirit Halloween. And I'm like, that seems scary. But she's like, well, we'll just see how she reacts. We take her in there. There's some like legit scary stuff.
There is.
And we just kept telling her it's fake. So now anytime she sees decorations, she's like, Frankenstein, fake. Like she's reminding us that it's fake. Like, it's all right, guys.
Yeah.
It's fake. Although I did, small detour from this story, get out my old like plastic light up, like one of those big outside plastic decorations.
Yeah.
Of Frankenstein, and I brought it in, and of all the scary shit we saw that day, when I came in with that Frankenstein, this clearly illuminated giant plastic thing.
It's like almost
it's not
like
even animated.
It's like a neon purple and green.
She freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, not her favorite.
It's the first time I've ever seen actual fear in her eyes.
Maybe it was the fact that it was in your guys' place or something.
I think it was because it was just so old. It gave it, like, like
it's like the other side of
like when you go into a bathroom from the 20s with visible plumbing. You're just like, ugh, kind of creeps you out.
Got to get out of here.
Yeah, I think it was like
I got to bail.
But as you know, any spirit Halloween is either a future or former grocery store.
Yeah.
And this particular...
Or a sports authority.
This particular... Yeah, right. This particular one happened to be a former Albertsons.
Okay.
And I don't think the old lady walking in with the shopping cart knew that. I don't know how she missed the signs.
No, she was about to spend $500 on just shit.
That's what I was thinking, because we're walking out, and I see this at least 70-year-old lady walking in with a shopping cart, and I'm like, this lady means business about Halloween. Little late, a couple days away.
Maybe she lives in a neighborhood though where it's like the kids are, ruffians or whatever old timey phrase you want to use.
Or she's like, a couple days away, they start bringing those prices down a little bit. They got to get rid of this stuff.
Also smart.
It became very clear after she actually entered the premises. She looked at the first display and was like, "Oh wow, that's
a lot of Halloween stuff."
And then she looked to her left and was like, "What the?" And then looked to her right and was like, "What is going on?"
Because they have some really, and maybe I was young and, just not paying enough attention, but some of the really big stuff they have, like the larger displays or some of the larger, like, I don't want to call them animatronics, but they kind of are.
Right.
They're like $400, like 8 foot tall.
Yeah.
Or obviously if you go to Home Depot, they've got the 12-foot skeletons. Like, I don't remember any of this enormous
one of those
shit.
big things greets you when you walk in, and that's what got her attention. But I saw the way she looked at masks, and she's like, I swear to God, that was the deli before.
One thing that's also interesting about Spirit Halloween is I swear they don't put up the really... don't get me wrong, there's plenty of spooky stuff in there, but they wait until, like, a few days before to put out the really crazy costumes. Because it's like they don't want to freak out everyone that hard the whole time. But I swear, if you go in the like couple days before, you're like, oh my God, these masks they got these are like Goosebumps things. Is this going to change me into the guy?
Yeah. Is this like the mask? I'm going to put it on, actually.
But now that Ashley and I are, well, typically, at least in my case, gainfully employed, now we can spend some stupid money on
stupid things.
Yeah, because when we lived in Briar, we had an extremely long driveway. It was a very poorly lit house, and we didn't have the money to put like lights up and make it inviting. So we had the spookiest house on the block in the worst sort of, in a way that no one, even like teenagers, are like, "Oh, that's a grow op. Like, I'm not going around there. I'm gonna get fucking shot." Yeah. No, we're not. We have full-size candy bars, and when
that's how you get them.
No,
come here.
You just yell from your porch.
Full-size candy bars.
Just don't mind the tripwire. I mean, fishing line.
Hey, do you guys like meth?
Does rag smell like chloroform to you? Yeah. So now we actually have, and we don't put up the super, like, realistic, violent displays. It's all kitschy. Mm-hmm. Here's a little pumpkin, here's a little bat, which, I don't mind when people go all the way on the spooky stuff, but it is a children's holiday.
Right.
And so when you see like a disembodied corpse, like, the entrails are like leading from it's like, guys, hold on. The average age of a trick-or-treater is literally about 9 years old.
Right.
5 to 13 is what you're working with. So, well, I'm very excited for you and Kendall to and Katie to all enjoy it. Hope you get a couple trick-or-treaters. Are you going to take Kendall out? I know she's still quite young. Are you going to go anywhere?
I always did this when I was a kid because my parents lived down a real long, dark road, and we only got so many trick-or-treaters, but it also wasn't easy for me to, like, I couldn't just go to the neighbor's house in a couple minutes. It was like I'm hiking up a hill.
Oh,
So,
yeah, that's a very good
so
point.
the
Now
first
that I'm
house
thinking
I would
about-
always hit was our own. I would just go outside, hit the doorbell.
Yeah.
And my mom would be like, oh, there's somebody here. And it's me. I would just be like, I've been eyeing that Twix for days.
Yeah. Is that your favorite of the Halloween candies?
Oh, I go hard on Twix, man.
Twix is great.
One year, my mom is a big king-size candy bar person, too, just because, like I said,
She goes king size. We go regular size.
we live that far down
Yeah,
the
if
hill.
you come down the hill,
Yeah.
you deserve... That's a really good...
So Costco used to have, I know they still do it with full size, but they used to have a king-size box.
Uh-huh.
With a couple, like, Kit Kats, Reese's, Twix, and Hershey bars, I think.
Woo! That's a smoker. That's a good box
I know.
right there.
I remember one year I was like, well, you got 3 of these. I know at most we'll use 1.5. So I can just have all the Twix. And we'll still have great candy to give people.
Yeah.
Without having to offer these strangers my Twix.
Exactly.
So-
Because no kid's going to turn their nose up. I mean, Hershey's is boring, but it's great. And a full-size
Right.
bar, it's like, dude, especially if you got the Hershey's with almond. Woo! Sorry, I'm interrupting. I'm just passionate about this candy.
October 13th, the Twix are gone.
You're a fool. That's almost... Oh, man, now I understand why you're saying you can't buy the candy that early.
Yeah.
You'd be fucked
And
by
so
the
at this
15th.
point, I've kind of shuffled them into, I've compacted things a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I've essentially eaten a full box, almost.
Right.
I'm like, all right, well, Kit Kats are starting to look kind of good.
Yeah.
A week later, the Kit Kats also gone. This ended with me eating 3 entire boxes of king-size candy, and the day before Halloween having to go back to Costco
Right.
and get more.
There is a point of no return.
Right.
It's like swimming across
You've
a
eaten
lake
too
or
much.
something.
It's an embarrassing amount. I just have to finish it.
Yeah,
I just have to
exactly.
finish
Yeah,
it
you
now.
get down to like 7.
If
You're
I
like,
leave
I'm
it,
just
I have to
putting these-
explain myself. If I just replace it before Karen's even noticed.
Yeah, you no longer have the splaining to do. I think this year I did mix it up on the box because I think that's the superior box. Don't get me wrong, but I got the one that's
I doubt they do that anymore because now they always work in one shitty one. They do that with everything.
Yeah,
It's like, here's a couple
Three
good things and then a
Musketeers.
couple shit like we're clearly trying to get rid of. Yeah, 3 Musketeers, exactly.
The one I got this year
Smarties.
because I did the Costco run on the candy when Ashley was at work. She may have intervened and said, "Oh, get this one instead." But it is a decent box. It's got 100 grand, Butterfinger, Crunch bars, and the last one I believe is Kit Kat. So it's sort of like not your traditional chocolate candy bars, but it's
got
like
some
all
good
the
crunch in there all
Yeah.
the way around.
I thought it was a fun.
The Crunch Bar is one of those things where I'm like, oh, fucking Crunch Bar is so fucking boring. And then I have one, I'm like, oh, fuck, these are good.
It's simple, but it works. It was beautiful simplicity. But I do think that a lot of people, I know Ashley's one of these folks, is like, I'd rather have the bunch of crunch. If you're going to give me that, like, give me the movie theater sensation.
What's your top 3 Halloween candies?
top 3? So I am, and I know it's boring, but I
Soda
just
doesn't
think
count because some people give out sodas, which is crazy too.
I've never got a soda. Interesting. I didn't know that.
I did more than once. It was always like...
It's certainly the appropriate amount of sugar. The thing about a soda, like at least with candy, you're like, well, the kid got some peanuts. Like a soda has nothing of value
It's
whatsoever.
also diabolical, though. You're sending a kid home at night with caffeine.
That's true.
Holy
Especially because
crap.
if I was giving out soda, not because I'm trying to be a jerk, but because it's my favorite soda, I would be giving out Mountain Dew. That's like the biggest asshole move of all of them to give out.
I'll be handing out Coke Zero this year. I'm kidding. I'm not sharing.
It's exactly. I'm keeping it for myself. You're now like a salesperson for them. You're going to be sent around to like
Well,
UW
I did
campus
say
and-
we were going to get a sponsor.
drinking a lot of soda on this show. Jesus. But my top 3, my number 1 is always going to be Snickers.
Oh, great.
And
Go.
even the fun size, you're like, man, there's something about this. It's the total package.
You can't get mad about a Snickers.
I agree. I would say second, and I've got an additional reason for having this as my number 2, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Because when you compare the fun size to the regular thing, you probably get the most value from a Reese's cup out of, like a fun size Snickers is, what, a fifth of a Snickers bar or something? But a single Reese's cup, that's half of the show. That's a quarter of a king size.
Reese's Pumpkins.
Oh, the pumpkins.
It's the perfect ratio.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And that's also Halloween specific. I'm just naming candies. But at least in that case,
Okay. Also, Reese's Snowmen.
I do love those.
Basically, if it's Reese's and it's a shape.
Now, here's a question for you, because I know a lot of people don't care for these, and this is more of an Easter question, too, but do you like the robin eggs? Like the little... They're almost like Whoppers. I totally get if you don't, but that's like the one...
I don't know if...
with Peeps.
I don't know if I like them, but I do eat them.
Fair enough. Because it's like you got chocolate bunnies, Peeps, and those are like the three like really Easter-specific fucking candies.
I'm a big jelly bean guy, and it kind of bothers me that that's the only holiday where they really dial in the jelly beans.
That's a good point. It's more of an old school candy, like Ashley's dad's favorite. And every time I get into some of Holly's Jelly Bellies, I'm like, oh man, this absolutely resonates. But then when I'm getting candy, I'm never like hooking up with the Jelly Belly. Yeah, exactly.
My big 3 Halloween candy.
Yeah, hit me with them. I'm still thinking of my third. I think I'm going to go with, this is going to be weird, but I think I'm going to go with Whoppers because no one wants them, and so I get a lot of them.
I traded a lot of Whoppers for Sour Patch Kids, which is my number 1. Anytime somebody actually had Sour Patch Kids, it's like, damn, you guys...
That's solid.
You deserve an award.
We are this year for the non peanut kids and everything. We're getting sour gummy worms and
hell yeah!
And then the second one was little Haribo gummy bears. So yeah,
it's always interesting to see. God, this is the fattest we've ever been on this show. We're so in depth. On
second lunch, dude. Season 2. Let's give these people what the name of the show's about.
Welcome back. It's always interesting to see the people who either do chocolate or gummies. It's very rare you see a house that has both.
Yeah, because see, Ashley's more of a candy person. I am like completely a chocolate person, though I do like the Sour Patch Kids, but... You know, so we want to have both anyways, but then it's, you know, you gotta respect the kids that got allergies, because I remember friends, you know, we'd sometimes trick or treat with like 12 kids, 1 or 2 inevitably's got peanut allergy, and it's like, oh man, we gotta help, you know, Ben out here. We got to take all the Reese's off his hands, which that's a champagne problem. But it's like, let's just remove the middleman and the trading, and let's just give the kid the option while they're here. And then they know, especially because they're getting a full size. You don't know if somebody's going to have a full size non-nut thing to give you. You need me to hook it up in the first place.
Good call. I didn't even think about that. That was very thoughtful, Cole.
I mean, we don't have
I've
kids.
Always thought just let the people with nut allergies die.
That is an extremely survival of the fittest approach, but as somebody that almost got killed by diabetes, it's like I can't get on my high horse about what kills you.
No, that's very thoughtful. I mean, I'm sure just I didn't even think about what that's like for those kids.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people bring the other stuff, and like I said, if you've got one other kid, you got a sibling.
Really gives you some trade leverage.
True.
You really don't have to give up much to get like a Reese's. That's a top 5 candy.
You need,
All of a sudden, you're trading Smarties for a Reese.
Yeah, I definitely felt the pangs of immorality where I was like, this would be unethical. Like, I have to offer some good stuff, like some Skittles.
Ooh,
like
no.
You know, well, because I value the chocolate more anyway. So it's like, man, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like I'm giving you all my Skittles.
Okay, all the candies are good. We're having the wrong discussion. What were the candies that when you got them, you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Why is this? Why this?
Smarties is the number 1.
Yeah.
1,000%. And they're not even like the worst thing. They're just so old school, like Necco wafers or something. Like, candy's come a long way. I'm not even saying it's terrible. It's just gotten so much better since then.
Right.
Like, so that's my number 1. What is your most like, oh man? I know some people don't like the Mounds or the Almond Joys.
I didn't appreciate those as pretty much anything coconut.
That's fair.
That's bottom of the bag.
Now, do you not
I'll be eating that mid-November.
Do you not like coconut across the board, or is it a candy-specific thing? I respect both, but like, you know...
It's more of a texture thing. Like, it gets in your fucking teeth. Like, not...
It is a very specific... that dried coconut, too, is
super
specific.
I like the taste of coconut. It's also weird. One of my favorite treats growing up was a snowball. Have you ever had a snowball?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, for people who don't know, it's a cake like covered in marshmallow with coconut on top. They're very good. So I don't know. I guess
also kind of an older.
I think I don't
treat.
like that texture under chocolate. I don't know. Something about it just weirds me out. You get through the chocolate with your teeth and then reach that.
It kind of squeaks on your teeth like a cheese curd does. I'm not saying it's the same texture.
It's also
but
like almost gritty, and you're like, what? It's weird.
completely understand.
Three Musketeers is bottom tier, top tier candy. Like, it's the last decent candy that's left for me.
I think that makes sense.
Before I really get to
the
the dregs.
I think that's very fair. I think that there was times like as I mentioned, I think on the show before, we went to Sasquatch like 7 or 8 years in a row, and it's just basically degenerate camping for a few days. And so you buy some simple food to keep you going and drink and blah, blah, blah. And I bought candy bars one year, and it was only like, I don't know, 6 or 7 of us in the group, maybe it was closer to 10, but it's like 32 candy bars over 3 days. You're probably not going to get through all of them. So a few days before, I was like, nobody's going to notice the Three Musketeers. I'm not being a bad friend because I'm not taking like the good shit here. So that said, I'm fully in agreement because it's bad enough for me to want it, but not good enough for somebody to regret its absence.
Yeah.
So yeah, I stole a good 3 out of that box. Chris, I'm going to lob this next one up for you. Inverse relationship.
Oh, yeah. I noticed, I don't even remember what made it come up, but I noticed that it seems like the bigger the hair, the crazier the person.
Now, are you talking big or are you talking long? Like if you've got like some...
No, not long. High.
High is a problem.
The further the hair gets off the top of your head, high up, I just feel like those people are a little nuts.
Now, let's be clear here. When you say those people...
I'm
No. I know. Because I know we're not talking about...
froze.
No, we're not talking
That's not
about...
what I mean.
Exactly. We're talking about like the Ancient Aliens fella.
I'm talking about like you should comb that.
Yeah.
Your hair's getting up there.
Yeah, like the Beavis and Butthead sort of vertical. Like let's...
or like Beehive. You see somebody who just like did that on purpose. That shit's crazy. Although, what was the name of the kid in Hey Arnold? That was pretty sick.
His primary friend, yeah. Oh shit. Oh, that's bumming me out.
See, that's not what I'm talking about.
This is what I get for being a Cartoon Network.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I completely understand. Like, I think that
Gerald, is that his name?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, I think that like both in the case of like a cool fro, like if you're Questlove or something, or in that case, there's enough like work going into it that I think it eliminates, plus you look really cool, but it eliminates the chances of insanity in a way that just like insane.
There's an unkemptness I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Well. Like a humongous afro that is well taken care. Even got a pick in it. I'm like, oh yeah.
But if it's like fucking,
it's the opposite. I'm like, that guy's fucking cool.
Yeah, but at the same time, if it's just bonkers, like
you're like, whoa, wow. That seems like an illustration of what's happening in your head.
It's a very good point. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Next time.
I notice it so much. Like, people's hair, I know it's like, I shouldn't. Maybe it's because I don't fucking have any. That's why I judge people. I really judge people on their haircut. Because it's like you're telling people something about you. People put you in a box as soon as they see you. That was like the first thing I really realized about doing stand-up, was as soon as people see you, they've already made assumptions. No matter how much we want to talk about don't judge a book by their cover, I knew what box I had to fit into on stage for people to believe what I was saying was me.
Yeah, a lot of people, don't judge a book by its cover, but a lot of people in the crowd will think they at least know the genre.
Exactly.
They don't know the whole book.
So your hair is like one of the very few things in your control. Also, like the way you dress. But it's like one of the very few things kind of in your control. Wish I could say the same.
Yeah, like there's some of the stand-up, I mean, I don't know if they're still active, but like when I see a guy with like like waist-length hair, I'm
Mitch
like,
Hedberg's
I'm
a good
expecting
example.
some like rocker guy type jokes, like the old school, like, all right, we'll probably get some like, I was at the metal show. I'm not saying that's correct.
Yeah.
This is just my own, like the types of fellas my dad introduced me to when I was growing up. Like, oh yeah, you're going to the hair metal show.
Yeah, right. Right.
I'm not saying this is correct.
Hedberg is a good example of somebody you looked at, and when you saw their act, you're like, yep, that goes together.
Real mellow guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dane
that's
Cook,
fair.
when he used to like spike his hair and wear wife beaters.
Yeah, you look like pretty amphetamine spike yourself, dude.
Like, oh, I see why you're shouting. Yeah. So anyway, That was all I wanted to know if you thought the same, because I feel like every time
I didn't before, but now I feel like I do.
When I see big crazy hair, I'm like, that is a crazy person. I'm keeping my distance.
As soon as you said it, I was like, ancient aliens guy, like talking crazy. Like, I'm not saying he's like completely psychotic or anything.
Right.
Like, he's not gonna like harm you, but he's got some wacky beliefs, and he's gonna deliver them to you in a wacky way.
Yeah, probably unwarranted. Like, I didn't even ask for it.
Yeah, I don't
Just
think of the
brought it
word
up.
zany too much.
Yeah.
Like, every time I think of zany, I think that somebody's like flicking the end of the bop it stick. Like, what a zany thing to do.
Yeah, that's one of those people where you're just like, I'll take the next elevator, man.
Yeah.
All you.
I'm not even saying he looks like he smells like shit, but he looks like he smells like something weird, you know? Like,
Yeah.
just like cheese curls. Like, in a different context, I wouldn't even have a problem with this. But
He doesn't smell like weed, but he smells like he's covering up smelling like weed.
yeah, like you smell like resin. Like, dude, are you scraping pipes? Oh my god!
Where do you even
Old-school
get
shit.
incense?
Yeah, Discovery doesn't pay enough these days. Okay, question for you, because one thing, Chris, I did want to mention, just so folks are aware, we're not doing Tinderella anymore. We've done many Tinderella questions.
I think we know each other pretty well.
We
after
do.
50 episodes.
That's truly, we've done
and
the
a
Adam
9-year
Sandler
relationship before that.
We've done the Adam Sandler 50 First Dates, but we will still occasionally have
Some questions.
Yeah. So you are the first man to the pizza box. What is your draft strategy? Now, can I ask you a quick clarifying question?
Yeah, please do.
What is the context? Is it like just you and Katie at home, or is this more of like, oh, we got like 10 boys over, we got 4 pizzas?
So you're saying you have different strategies?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Hit me with both then. Mine is. Wow, you're right. I'm realizing I also have different strategies. Let's go with party, because home, it's safe.
Home is a little easier.
You can be the fat
You know what
piece
your
of
wife
shit you wanna
wants.
be. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I was thinking for sure.
I was
definitely know what Katie
companionship.
wants. Yeah. That's what I meant. So at a party, if I'm the first guy for starters, I'm not going to be. Somebody skinny has to be the first person to take.
Very fair. I think we had a similar conversation about being the guy to get the last of something. I can't be the last cookie guy.
Yeah.
It's just I have to eat more of mine beforehand.
If I didn't get the second to last one, I missed my chance.
Exactly. Windows closed.
So in this fake scenario where I am going to take the first slice, let's say I'm the skinny guy in the room somehow. I'm taking the first slice, right? I still, I go most condiments on the slice. I'm a pepperoni guy, so I'm going to look for the slice with the most pep on it.
Okay.
That's my first pick. My second pick, after everybody else has had one, of course, biggest slice.
Fair. That's a fair.
But it can't be naked. It can't be, like huge
Like,
slice, couple pieces of pep.
It's a 1/6 of the pizza, but has 0% of the pepperonis.
Mm-hmm. It's the biggest one with the best amount of condiments.
Right.
Not condiments, but toppings.
Yeah, I knew what you were
Toppings
saying.
on
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Similar strategy. I normally go for the one with the second most toppings, because similar fat guy strategy. If I get the one with the most pep, I'm going to be judged here. And then this is an interesting part for me, and I know this because it came up real recently. Good friend of Ashley's boyfriend had his birthday a couple weekends ago, and a couple of vegetarians in the mix.
Oh boy.
And I actually really love like supreme veggie pizza, and I do like occasionally trying to have a meal without meat, just a little less meat getting eaten and for me, if not for the world. For
Probably
me,
good for your arteries and all these other.
I'm already eating pizza.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because there's some like folks with certain dietary restrictions, I'm always like, I want to get in on that veggie pizza, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hang back. Other thing is I only take one of each. Again, we're talking party scenario. One of each type. Say we got 3 or 4 different types. It's like I'm not going to double up on anything until second round. Yeah. So, like in this case, there were pepperoni pizzas, supreme veggie pizzas. I think there was one other, and I think then there was cheese. And I don't even like cheese pizza, but I was like, I'm going to eat a cheese slice because these are the numbers.
Wow.
We're going to play ball. Trying to be ethical again. But as soon as everyone's had one round, the ethics are gone. There are no... I will take however many slices of whatever. Like, once everybody's had a round, I'm, like, giving up the eyeball.
It's funny. I've got the killer mentality in the first round. That's where you're being ethical. See, that's why I win.
You do win. In this scenario, in this rock, paper, scissors environment, you have totally rocked my scissors. Like, because I'm coming in for the second half, and you've already just, like, destroyed the best pieces.
But you're cleaning up the back nine when I'm feeling bad about myself.
That's true. That's true.
When I'm trying to look dainty.
Well, like in the case of the veggie slices, I'm hanging back. And again, I mean, I would prefer a Supreme with meat, but in this scenario, that's what we had. I'm like, I need some fucking peppers and mushrooms in my life.
I don't know about that. Let's not.
I understand.
I certainly won't eat a cheese. I'll eat that before I eat cheese. To me, that's not pizza. You haven't finished making it yet. No, I don't understand cheese pizza personally.
I think I only understand it when it's like a true margarita Italian, and maybe that doesn't even count because it does have basil. But like a really good thin pizza, it's like, okay, I get it. But the thick ass like Pizza Hut, there's too much bread for you to not throw some other stuff in the mix.
Get cheese sticks.
Yes, same thing. It'll also save you a good amount of yeah. And you know what you can do easily? Dip it in the marinara. Because you know what? I always feel like cheese pizza's dry. I don't know what it is. The lack of other shit just always seems dry to me.
Headlines, our education segment. It's really important to us here at Second Lunch Podcast to make sure that our educators. Cut it. That our listeners
really keep it in.
Are educated. So I'll start with some recent news. Ohio man cancels credit card to escape gym membership.
I've literally done the same type of thing. One time I lost a credit card and the gym kept calling me. Like, I had to cancel it. They kept calling me for a new card.
Yeah.
Nope.
Right.
No, sir.
So the thing that happened to this guy, he went in, he called, tried to cancel. They said, you're going to have to go to the website. Went to the website. The website said, you have to go in. He went in. They said, you have to go to the website. And he just couldn't get it canceled for like 6 months.
That's psychotic.
And so that's why. So the same thing happened to me.
I thought he just was aversion to people.
And I've done the same thing, but I've also taken a similar thing a step further. I'm only going to mention it now because it's been over a decade, and I think the statute of limitations has passed. I used to sign up for pornography websites, and after enjoying it for a little while, I would call my bank and say, these are fraudulent charges. I don't know who has been ordering pornography with my card, but I'm not that kind of man.
You look like that kind of man. And I don't mean that in a terrible way, Chris. I'm just saying, thank God they didn't have you on video.
They deserve to be paid for their work, okay? If we're all looking at free porn, these poor girls.
Where's the money going?
And fellas.
You're right.
Not judging.
You're right. Lexington Steel's got to get it done.
Everything in between.
Yeah.
But I knew if I call my bank, the bank's not going to try to recover $30 a month over 4 months. They're just going to eat it, take the tax write-off on the loss, so those people still get paid. I get the good stuff for free.
Yeah. It is more complicated to get your money back. You know, if you buy something at Nordstrom and you wear it once, you got the physical product. I never thought about the, clawing back the pornography funds.
Yeah, there were some sites I was not able to go back to, but TushyLiquors.com, man, never figured it out. Wisconsin Pizzeria.
Tushy is so innocent for what is probably happening on that website.
Yeah. No, my favorite part about Tushy, I said Tushy Liquors on purpose because there was one very funny phone call I had with the fine people at Chase, and I felt bad because it was clearly a very nice, conservative young woman, and she's like, "Okay, well, we're just gonna have to go through some of these charges here. Looks like Chevron for $9.72,
right by your
Safeway house. $27.43." TushyLiquors.com, $21.20. I'm like, oh yeah, that's
not me.
But hearing this poor young woman have to say Tushy Liquors to me on the phone kind of got me going, actually.
It is very funny too to sandwich that between the most pedestrian Jiffy Lube, not what you think. Grease monkey.
Yeah, it's actually not lube.
It's
Wisconsin pizzeria apologizes after customers get high from pizzas accidentally contaminated with THC.
Now that's fucked. Do you know how it was accidentally? Nobody making pizzeria wages is throwing their own edibles, and you know what I mean? Like, that's just stupid.
Somebody was making one for themselves, and they were too high to realize that they had given it to
That's
customers.
what I'm thinking, but the way this sounds is
A
like...
Wisconsin pizza restaurant, Famous Yeti's Pizza in Stoughton, has apologized after some of its pizzas were found to be contaminated with THC. According to Public Health Madison and Dane County, the contamination occurred between October 22nd and October 24th. The issue came to light after local EMS... Somebody got so high they called an ambulance. Been there. Transported several people exhibiting THC-related symptoms, all of whom had recently eaten at the pizzeria. Bonnie Armstrong, Director of Environmental Health, advised customers who may have experienced symptoms after eating the pizza to consult a healthcare provider or call. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, obviously those people got ripping fucking stoned. So again, this comes back to I would love to follow up on this. I know we never do that on headlines, but if we can find out how the contamination occurred, because these people got real high. Like when you said you've been there, you probably got really fucking high. And so that's not just like somebody threw like some weed butter on there. Like, that sounds solid.
Butter. I'm thinking was probably in the crust, would be my guess, right?
Yeah, that would make the most sense. But then the employees probably didn't, it's like it almost sounds like it happened near the farm, But then it says between October 22nd, anyways, I'm just blathering on.
Again, it had to be somebody making their own pizza. And
I'm feeling the same way. But goddamn, you made the strong pizza, my dude. You got to calm down.
Or this was a great publicity stunt.
Yeah, like
people coming in like, can I have that one pizza you gave those people in the ambulance? Sounds sick, dude.
Brilliant, Chris. I love that idea.
Also, a good way to sell more pizza.
Oh, for sure. Just keep getting them high.
Oh, I'm really high after that pizza I had. Can I have 5 more pizzas?
Yeah, they say that you always are hungry for Chinese food like 20 minutes after eating it. When you get destroyed high
by weed pizzas,
you'll definitely eat more weed pizzas.
Oh, weed pizzas. That may be the episode name. Sheriff calls for... Sorry, I wasn't prepared for this one. It made me laugh when I saw it, too. Sheriff calls for backup over wrong Burger King order.
This is just such an abuse of power. Like, what?
How wrong could it have possibly been?
I have had orders so wrong. I never thought to even bring another party into the mix.
You would have to have handed me Popeyes for me to be pissed off at Burger King.
This is very much.
This isn't even the right
where did you
restaurant.
Get this? Just Glenn's lunch. He just pulled this shit out of the fridge. No, it's like it's like Super Troopers when he orders the food and he's like, number 2 large. It's for a cop. I'm definitely going to want a replacement on that. But Jesus Lord. Yeah, how wrong was it? That is the question. Like, oh my God, instead of burgers, all they gave me was deadly nightshade.
This is, I mean, this is funny at first blush. It's obviously depressing because of what it actually is and the fact that it actually happened. So if you want to know more...
As long as nobody showed up with, like, firearms drawn, it's more funny than... If somebody had, like, a gun out, then it's like, okay, this is no...
Like, right, this seems like a movie plot.
Yeah, backup?
Yeah. Right. All right, that is it for headlines this week. Let's wrap this bad boy up.
All right, we got less than 5 minutes, so we'll see how much of this week in history we get through. But I will start with this one here. October 24th, 1901, Annie Edson Taylor becomes the first person to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel. What is the dumbest thing you've ever seen somebody do for attention?
Lift their pickup truck.
All right, you almost made me spit my drink out there.
Muffler on a Honda. I don't know. Something. It's always something making your car dumb. I'm just like, fuck, you're stupid. That shit drives me nuts. The stuff people do with their cars. I know I've ranted about bumper stickers on here before. I won't get back into that. But that is part of this category.
That's fair.
Rims, like really dumb rims. Somebody has like an F-350 with huge rims. It's like F-350. Why? Why did you need the 3? And why? Just get
Like,
get a Ford Ranger and fuck with that. You didn't need a real truck.
Yeah, that truck is in a commercial featuring like Stone Temple Pilots, like Wicked Garden in the background. He's like driving through mud, but you're gonna put like $5,000 rims on it.
Glad they spin, bro. Real cool.
Okay. For me, I'm gonna go with something less expensive but more dangerous. We'll go back to Sasquatch for this one. At the time, I still smoked cigarettes, so I've got a Marbred fired up, way away from all the stages, so I don't even think anybody's like around me. And this teenage kid pops up out of nowhere, shirtless, looking good. You know, this guy looks ready to do what he's about to offer. Okay, that sounded a bit strange.
Hello. No, tell me details.
But he's like, dude, I will do a backflip off this table for a cigarette. And I'm like, I will give you a cigarette not to do a backflip.
Oh, no!
Because I am very worried about that. My buddy Lucas also comes out of... I didn't know that any of these people were... He's like, I'll give you 2 cigarettes to do the backflip.
Yeah.
Before I can even re-up, before I can even try it, because I'm like, oh, do I give him 2 cigarettes to not do it? He's already midair. He stuck the landing. So in terms of execution, it didn't end up being stupid. But in terms of risk reward, like, well, you could break your fucking leg or neck. You could also get 80 cents worth of tobacco. This is 10 years ago. You know, cigarette prices were
pretty incredible form of currency.
Oh, it was definitely, I felt like I paid for the entertainment. I think I gave him my smoke too. So I think he got 3 out of it because I was like,
nice.
Well done, man.
Nice.
Well done.
Nice.
But yeah. Okay, we'll end on this one. This will be our last question. October 26th, 2004, Rockstar Games releases Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for PS2, which sold 12 million units, becoming the console's best-selling video game. What video game have you sunk the most time into?
I played a lot of the first Halo.
That's a very good candidate.
A lot of Crazy Taxi.
Woo!
And Simpsons Road Rage. I love getting people where they gotta go.
Come on, man, you got a time limit.
But in terms of like franchises, if I'm picking one video game franchise I've sunk the most hours into, it is not even fucking close. MLB The Show.
That's fair. They do the best job with the online stuff, with the My Team.
Just this last year, I played at least 300 hours of the show. Before that, and that was when I cut myself off. I would have played more, but I saw the number on my PS5 and I was like, "That's crazy! This has to stop."
My number's around the same place, and I got like 3 9-inning games in today.
Oh my god, jealous! I love the strategy of baseball, like in the stats. Like, oh yeah,
yeah. It's like you need to get 8 hits with Alfonso Soriano. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
Sorry, let me get the lube out.
Woo! This guy was a Yankee and a Cub. Still love him to death.
Yeah. Oh my god, we got a little bit of time. I think I could fit a short story in today. Kendall found Katie's butt plug. She just happened to be fishing through the drawers, and she takes it out, and because it's got like, I don't know, they make them fancy now. There's like a red jewel on the end of it.
Right.
That's the
tag.
part Kendall's loving. Of course, she has no context. She doesn't know. She goes to put it in her mouth. I'm like, no. And she just thought like, oh, that's not how you use this. And so she turned it around, put it on her head like a unicorn. It was so fucking funny. Butt plug unicorn, dude. How's that not the episode title?
See, well, first of all, it can be, and second of all, if I was doing a bit where I would never be fishing through your guys' drawers, but where I find a butt plug, I wouldn't even think like, oh, like rhino, dolphin, you know, like, I'm gonna do the narwhal thing.
Very creative. Oh, she had no idea. It was so funny.
That is fantastic.
All right, well, that is the beginning of episode 2. Episode title.
Season 2.
Yeah. Fuck's sakes. Beer's hitting good today. Thank you guys for listening, watching. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. TikTok is illegal. Or I might start working on Twitter or X. Fuck, I don't know. Who cares? But Facebook, Instagram. Keep listening, watching. We appreciate you guys. Jordan, love y'all. Bucks and 6.
Woo.